Whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the East Franklinton Review Board to order. Stephanie, call the roll, please.
Mr. Fergus,
Here.
Mr. Way is not here. Mr. Bush is not here. Mr. Nobby,
Here.
Ms. Benner, here. Mr. Sweeney, also not here. And Ms. Hamilton, here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, next thing I will do is swear you in. And you, Stephanie, do swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do, Stephanie Kensler.
All right. Next up is Community Planning Month recognition. Gentlemen.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Stevens. I'm the Director of Development for the city, and Chairman, I want to thank you for giving me some time on your agenda. I'll be quick, but it is Community Development Planning Month, and one of the ways we're recognizing that this year is we're going around to the different commissions that serve our planning division and the volunteers who are doing that work to say thank you. The time and effort you put into this work is greatly appreciated. I know on behalf of Mayor Ginther, this thanks is for work that we know needs to be done, and we need that community engagement and that citizen engagement. So having you here as residents doing that is really important. Couple of things I've asked the team to put together some stats on kind of the work that you've done and how it's impacting our goals and priority here in the city and Department of Development, where we're really focused on how are we making sure that everyone has a place to live in Columbus, has a place to work, has an opportunity to build and grow wealth. So this commission represents a range of skilled professionals that have served between 1 month and 9 years. This year alone, you have overseen at least 37 applications for certificates of approval and issued 4 certificates of approval. This valued work has an impact on at least over 564 square feet of new commercial space and over 800 residential units. So some of the work that you have dealt with this year includes 640 West Town Street, a new 5-story 41-unit apartment building with partially covered ground level parking, a new infill 3-unit apartment building on West Chapel Street, and the renovation of a historic single-family home on West Chapel Street. This year also marks the 10th anniversary of the East Franklinton Creative Community District Plan. So more than 10 years ago, the city determined there was a need to foster the development of East Franklinton area as a place where creativity could thrive. The plan was formed and recommended to a new zoning district and a board to help facilitate the development. Since the adoption of the East Franklinton plan, there have been hundreds of thousands of square feet of development representing hundreds of millions of private investment. So the East Franklinton Review Board's work is a great example of the power of planning and creating great communities. I also want to recognize Stephanie and her colleagues in planning who support your work and what they're doing as well. So just want to say thank you. And if there's ever a time where we want to connect, and there's things that we need to talk about on what's going on, I'm always happy to connect with any of you and do that. So, but thank you again for having me here today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting? Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
To approve?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Call roll, please.
Mr. Fergus,
Approve.
Mr. Nobby,
Approve.
Ms. Benner, approved. Ms. Hamilton, approved. Motion carries.
Okay, so on to continued applications. The sole application we have today is EF 22-08002, address 629 West Ridge Street. The owner is City of Columbus Land Bank, and the applicant is Roger Onan. Staff report, please.
Thank you. Application EF 22-08002, 629 West Ridge Street. This is a request for action for new construction. The applicant is requesting review and action for a new single-family home within the Dodge Park subdistrict. The current proposal includes the following: a new single-family home with attached garage, new 20 by 20-foot asphalt paved parking area with alley access, new 6-foot wood privacy fence to enclose the rear yard, new 4-foot black aluminum fence to enclose the front and side yards, new corner landscaping feature, and new Cloud 9 dogwood front yard tree. The application previously came before the board at the August 2022 meeting. At that meeting, the board was generally supportive of the proposed use, but requested additional detail before being able to take action on the application. The board's other feedback was primarily focused on how the project would address the corner and interact with Ridge Street, as well as the composition of the elements on the front facade. The board also did not oppose the attached garage in this situation due to the unique circumstance created by the floodplain. The submittal includes a site plan, floor plans, elevations, and material specification and cut sheets. The proposal is generally consistent with the recommendations of the East Franklinton Creative Community District Plan. The plan states that use and density in line with plan recommendations should be supported. The plan also encourages the development of single-family homes in the area with parking in the rear that are compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. The proposal as presented is in line with these guidelines. However, the plan also recommends that buildings on corner lots should be oriented towards the corner. The applicant is proposing to use landscaping as a way to address the corner, in addition to using a consistent window style on all facades. Finally, the plan recommends that lights be fully shielded and directed downward to prevent light spillage. The proposed light fixtures do point downward, but are not fully shielded. The proposal is somewhat consistent with these guidelines. As such, staff is supportive of the proposal as presented and recommends approval without condition.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Any questions for staff? If not, will the applicant please step forward? State your name for the record.
My name is Roger Hoodin.
And you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief.
I do.
Thank you. Okay, if you have anything to present, go ahead and proceed.
Just kind of a quick recap of the last meeting and some of the things that we've done. So there was questions around the front facade in terms of was there just too much siding going on? And so we've broken up the front facade by adding, always mess up the name, board and batten, I believe is called, to the north gable. We've also added a window to the north gable. We've matched similar patterns on the rear of the house with the dual garage and rear part of the house, so there's board and batten there. Based upon looking in the community as a whole, there were no houses that have a rear window in the gable area, so we did not have a gable back there, but we do have that board and batten to break it all up. We also evaluated multiple options in terms of how to address the corner, including adding second sets of stairs, adding stairs to the end. And so we have images later in here where we have attempted to show how we try to go different ways and ultimately trying to move stairs over to that left-hand north-hand side of the house wasn't applicable. So what we ended up doing was pulling in the fence line and creating landscaping at that corner, as well as wrapping landscaping all around the edge of the house in order to create that presentation to both sides of the property. We did also, towards the rear of the house, move over the garage 2 feet so that it stays in line with the house as a whole. I think those are the big changes that we made along the way. And I know we adjusted the garage light because that was the call out the last time around it not being fully shielded but not pointed down. So I'm not sure which other lights are matching, so I can change those out if appropriate, so not worried.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
I'll just make a comment that appreciate you addressing some of those concerns that were brought up at last month's meeting with the front yard fencing, the landscaping on the corner to address staff's concerns. And yeah, I think the changes you made come a long way. And there was also concerns by some of the committee members that aren't here about the detail on your plans. And so you added a ton of detail too. And so all that looks good.
And we also added images with showing what the fencing actually looks like. So the house plus the fencing, so people get a feel for it and feel comfortable.
Anyone else? Any questions? Discussion?
I remember when you say we, is that your architect that I know when you first presented, you had.
Yeah, so we have a builder. We have a
Okay.
builder that I'm working with. So the
Yeah.
builder redid all the images, so
Yeah.
they were homegrown images, and so the builder has done all the housing. The builder doesn't do fencing, so I've had to do the magic of PowerPoint to overlay fencing on top of there. It's hard to shrink fencing down and create fencing and get everything angled correctly, but yes, the combination of the builder and I have created new images.
Is there any particular reason why you would not have the lights fully shielded and only?
Honestly, again, that was more of the fully shielded ones are the ones that I updated from the last time. I just didn't realize the other ones didn't count as fully shielded. And so if I need to change those out in some way, it's just a lighting package switch out. So that's just an oversight on my part, and I just didn't realize it.
All things being equal, my feeling is we probably ought to stick to the plan and have those lights fully shielded.
Yeah. So yeah, and some of these are on the front porch as well. The shielding, right, is kind of a moot point because the porch takes care of the shielding. But we'll switch them out, right? I'm not worried about it.
So to clarify, I did have to look at what the actual definition of a fully shielded light was.
So did I. So did I. Trust me, I had to look it up. What is fully shielded?
Right, yes. So-
Because we had called about it when originally there was a garage light that was quote unquote fully shielded, but because of the way it angled, it wasn't quote unquote pointed down enough. So I had to switch it out from an overhead to two side lights that are classified as dark sky night lights. So I know that those will work. So if I need to switch around some stuff like that, I'm not worried. That's the least of my concerns on the approval.
Anyone else? If not, I would entertain a motion at this time. Unless you all want me to make it for you.
So I'll motion to approve as submitted with the stipulation that the exterior lights are fully shielded with staff approval on that.
Perfect. All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Francis seconds it.
Okay, so I have a motion for conditional approval as submitted with the condition being that the lights be switched out for something fully shielded, and that's to be staff approved, correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Call roll, please.
Mr. Fergus,
Approve.
Mr. Nafi,
Approved.
Ms. Benner, approved, Ms. Hamilton, approved. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And at 3:18, that's all we got today. Next meeting, let's make sure of this one. The next meeting is Tuesday, November 29th here at 3 p.m.,
Yes,
correct?
so everyone just make sure to double check your calendars. It's, instead of having the meeting the day before Thanksgiving, it's the next week on Tuesday. So Tuesday, the 20th.
Okay, with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One at a time.